Hello and welcome to Trekkie and Beyond, a Star Trek podcast. I'm Monica.
And I'm Andrea, and welcome to episode 8 of season 3, The Sanctuary. And in this episode, we get to see Book's home planet and learn a little bit about where he came from and what he was running from. And also, we get to see a little bit more of connection between some more of the Starfleet members and learning some secrets that they may not want us to know. So let's go ahead and dive right into this episode. Monica, what were your initial thoughts?
I liked it because I really like away missions, but there are some flaws in this. And I'm looking forward to talking about it. What about you? What did you think about this episode?
I liked this episode. I definitely liked seeing another planet, even though it looked a lot like an American forest. But I liked learning a little bit about some more of our Starfleet members and learning a little bit about Book's history. When they give us strong female characters, they either give us like a pushover, or I'll say strong female characters, female characters in power. They give us like someone who is like Osyraa, or someone who's almost like a pushover, like the last admiral who died. Like they don't give us like a Captain Pike version of a female, or if they try to, it doesn't come off that way. I feel like number one could be like a Captain Pike type.
Right.
But like Michael's not like a Captain Pike type captain. Even though she's not a captain yet, but you know what I mean. We don't get to see strong female characters in the same way we get to see strong male characters.
Right. The first Georgiou was strong, but not an evildoer.
So she was a great example. Okay, will. Yes, you're right. The first Georgiou.
But other than that, and Cromwell was flaky for me.
Yeah,
it was like good and bad. I feel like Osyraa is the new version of Laurel. the first season Laurel, who was mysterious, but like also enslaved, like there was prisoners and she wasn't taking no for an answer from Ash.
Yes, I can agree with that. Yes. She is someone who, before we know the deep depravedness that they have,
that was my nice way of saying
it was almost like, okay, you go, girl. Oh, you're feeding your nephew to a trace worm. Okay, but you know, girl power. Okay, so this episode we see three main storylines. We have the storyline of Georgiou and of Tara and Georgiou's health, of Stamets, Paul and Arya, and then Michael and Adira. And then we have Michael and Book's story. So before we get into the whole meat of the episode, which is really Michael and Book's episode of scenes, let's talk about Georgiou. She is dying. That's my opinion. What is yours?
It seems that way. Yes, she's having some sort of outer body experience, which is scary for me. We're not used to seeing Terry and Georgiou weak like this. I'm still not sure why, and it doesn't seem like Georgiou is able to come to terms like she's struggling. There's a little bit of denial, or she doesn't want to also see weaknesses in herself. She wants to be the strong person here.
No, yes, totally. She can't she's already she's built herself on being this strong, fearless, one woman army person, that she can't let them see her anything less. Like you said, even to herself, she can't outwardly admit it to herself that there is something wrong, because we can tell in her eyes that she knows something's wrong, but she won't admit it outwardly, accept that there is something wrong. I still part of me still believes that old guy from Starfleet did something to her. I don't know what it was, but I feel like he did something, because none of this started until after he spoke to her. So
right. I was wondering if it's back to this season, so season 3 episode 2, where she was shot several times in that Wild West episode. Remember when they were in the
That
the
little
bar,
saloon, the bar,
and she was shot, and like she stood up to her ground. She stands strong, but like that just seemed like that was it seemed like that would have been painful to anybody. So I don't know if that's wearing on her, but it seems like there's some brain dysfunction. I don't know exactly what's going on, and he was not describing it, I think, in full detail yet.
I think I probably would have believed this was something prior to Starfleet's involvement if we had saw like during the Earth episode, we saw her have like a little bit of a blackout. But because it was like none of her symptoms started until after someone else told her that she was sick, it just in the back of my head is like, you had something to do with that. Why are we like literally the same episode? It wasn't like it happened a couple episodes later. Right. The end of that episode, after someone tells her you're sick, and then we see her black out, that just seems a little too close timing for me. Yeah. And it could be a true thing that is happening to them. He might have sped up the process, but it's very interesting that the timing was always so quick. But we see that Hugh, which in my opinion is dumb to be next to her again, because the last time he was next to an unstable person, he got his neck snapped. Why are you next to another unstable person, Hugh?
At least there's another doctor there in the room.
No, because with our luck, it's going to be his neck that is snapped again. Why are you next to another unstable? That's all I could think of, that every time he was next to her. You're going to get your neck snapped. Like, you're going to get your... Why are you next to her? Like, no. You need you need guards there for this.
And maybe there's more people at the Federation that can help research this and the new technology. And I don't know. I'm starting to become fond of her in a strange way.
I was always fond of her. She was just never a good person. I've always loved her, but it's like, oh, you can't keep her on your team. You can love her, like she's just not good for you. It's like those relationships where it's like, it's very unhealthy for you guys to still be together, but I love you. I understand. But when they say love is not enough, that's what I mean. I can love her, but from afar.
Right. Yes. But when we need her to be there, we need 100% of Terry and Georgiou.
We do.
Not potential blackouts and stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Very true. And so then we also have another side story with Paul and
Adira,
because I was going to say it wrong again. And they are able to sort of locate where the burn started. And this is a huge win for them, because one is the Discovery who found it. No one else in the 150 years or 20 years has been since the burn that anyone figured it out. It's in this place called the Verbin Nebula. Yeah. And they notice that there is a sound coming from this nebula that we've heard all throughout this season without realizing we've heard the same thing. It's what Adira plays on the cello. It's what her boyfriend who died, Gray, played on the cello. Mm-hmm. It's what the Barzan family was singing to each other. So it's a wonder of how is this sound all being permeated throughout the universe and no one realizes it's all the same thing until this moment. And they also find out that there is a Starfleet ship still hidden out there in distress that's sending out the signal. So
it's nice to see Adira. I feel like she's filling that, I don't know, new trainee role that Tilly used to have. So a new perspective in engineering and research. I'm not quite sure why they're doing all this research and still Jet is no longer in the scene.
I wonder how they're going to explain her return. Like maybe it was her back was out, so she was in stasis. I don't know.
But it seems like they could have expedited this research if all hands on deck if everyone in engineering was conducting this research with Adira and Paul. But what I found intriguing about this particular scene is when Tilly came in, now second in command, with Saru, and then Saru used his additional sensors to to ask a few questions to, I guess, extract some of the sound, and notice that was like a Federation beacon. So like once again, Saru is on it. Not just in a captain's role of stepping back and listening to all the perspectives, but involved in the actual research. I just really have, I really like how this character has evolved.
Adira or Saru, or both?
Saru.
Yeah, Saru.
I haven't seen Adira evolve yet.
We also, I don't know, was it this episode that Adira is also still feeling the effects of losing Gray? Like she's no longer talking to her?
Correct. They're no longer talking, and they're not quite sure of themselves and that connection.
Oh, yes.
It's nice to also see that Hugh and Paul are helping, sort of, I guess, like mentor them through this. So we'll see how this goes.
Yes, thank you for the correction of the pronunciations. Or the pronouns. I definitely forgot to make note of that. I apologize. Because Adira's pronouns are they and them. So it was also great to see like Paul and Hugh have like almost like a dad moment. That was really cute. I was like, oh, look at my parents.
They're definitely a couple, Hugh and Paul.
Oh, cute. I'm happy. It seems like now they're a real couple. Like they had their conversation, that they're not just like glossing over. They're not like a couple who had a fight and they're both just like talking until they both can forget that the fight happened. Like, oh no, we talked it out. We're good. So then we're coming to almost the main topic of this episode, that Book needs to go back to his home planet. And Starfleet doesn't want to let them go really because of the Emerald Chain, and they're really not trying to put the Discovery, which is able to arrive and jump away so quickly, the only fleet that can do that, so close to the Emerald Chain. And then they also just don't want to tangle with them, you know?
Right.
But Michael, being Michael, is able to get her way, and they make the journey there to Book's home planet. And we get to see a little bit more about Osyraa before her arrival, and how she is not someone to be played with. Like she killed her brother. Because like the way her nephew described it, like, you know, when you killed my father, I understood. And it didn't dawn on me that your father was her brother.
I didn't realize she killed him. I thought she said when he died. I didn't realize she killed. Wow. Ugh.
I think that's what he said. I think that's what the nephew said, that when you killed my maybe I have to go back and watch, but the way I remember seeing it was, or hearing it was, that she killed her brother. Even though her nephew, I felt like her nephew didn't do anything to warrant death. Did you?
Oh no, I think she just feels like he failed her. And I'm still puzzled why Ryn is so important here. So I'm still not sure of that. But because Ryn escaped, she wanted to kill her nephew because he didn't keep Ryn safe. Ryn must have something deep on this.
And in my opinion, because we found out later in the episode what it is that he has on her. Why didn't he just kill her? I mean, why didn't she just kill him? Like when he was your prisoner. The smart move would have been to kill him when he was a prisoner.
Right, but the big reveal still wasn't that big. I mean, yeah, it's a limited mineral, so yeah, it's gonna have a limited quantity. I don't
Which is why I felt like she should have just killed him. But I guess it also could show that she has a weakness to exploit, you know, that she has a expiration date on her reign of terror. And you don't want that when you're trying to be a big bad gangster. You don't want people to know that you're low on funds or low on ammo or low on anything. Like, oh yeah, we just gotta wait her out and then she's gone.
Right. And let's face it, she used the slaves to do her dirty work, especially Ryn, who was in charge of tagging all the slaves so they couldn't run away and leave. And I guess she threatened him because she cut off his, I don't want to say horns, but antenna.
Yeah.
So I think she used Ryn to help instill fear and the other prisoners and slaves.
A cut off head would do that same exact thing on a pike.
Yeah, for a limited time. He's there in their face for every new slave. I don't know.
Then just keep cutting off a new slave's head. I mean, because if someone has a secret that you don't want to get out, don't keep them alive, because then they can tell other people.
That's why I think there's more. I don't know.
There has to be more because like that wasn't a secret. I was like, oh, we don't have that much left. Oh, we don't? No. How many people know this? Just you. Okay. Now it's just me. It's the horrible plot that everyone does in every bad movie where I'm always just like, why would you tell the bad guy that you're the only one who knows the information? Lie. Tell them everyone knows.
Right.
But if this is one time no one else knows but you, kill them.
Right. But in the meantime, Osyraa is like exploiting all the other planets for limited resource. Like she knows that everyone needs other resources from other planets, and there's ripple effects from the lack of dilithium and the big explosion that happened. But she's
like robbing Peter to pay Paul, but she's not really paying Paul. She's blackmailing Paul with the stuff she got from Peter to blackmail Paul to then blackmail Peter.
Right. So I take it back, everyone. She's not a bully. She's like a mobster.
Yes. But they're bullies.
Yeah. But even more powerful. Yeah. She's got a gang behind her.
Discuss. Yes. So basically this whole main part of this episode is about Booker and Michael going to Booker's home planet because he receives a distress signal from his brother. Basically his brother from another mother, because they're not biologically related. And y'all need to stop dying and putting your lives online for people you're not blood related to, because that's asking a lot. But I wouldn't have gone back. It just, you didn't go back for your blood parents, your blood family. Why are you going back for someone else? But neither.
That's his people.
He didn't go back when his father died. Why is he going back now?
Well, now he feels like he has potentially Starfleet with him. He has more brass with him. Like,
also, why is he not flying his own ship?
That's what I'm puzzled by. That's my like. Yes.
Like, why is he not flying his own ship? Like, go by yourself. But also, it's like part of him really wants Michael to go with him. And I feel like he's only staying around because he wants that Michael booty, but it's not really happening. So, because she's not going to leave Starfleet anymore for him, and he wants her to. So it's like he's staying around for her. But dude, when do you start overstaying your welcome?
Let's face it. Okay, this might be bad to say, but the US Discovery, that's like the sugar daddy, because it has so much lithium. Like, it's
I really hope they've offloaded that. Like, I really hope they offloaded that.
And she showed him how much. She didn't just take some out and like, here's your stash. Thank you for helping me get back here to my peeps. No, she showed him the wealth of dilithium that they have, and they have the spore drive. Why would he leave that behind? No.
I think that the smart move for Starfleet would have been they turned over the dilithium, or at least like 70% of it, because now that the ship, great, like awesome, the ship is upgraded and like it can battle and handle like, current fighting, but still having all that dilithium puts just a huge target on your back.
Yeah.
So I really do hope they offloaded it, and then even then, I hope that the main hub of Starfleet isn't holding it all. I hope it's like spread out amongst the ships, because you don't want one major target right now. It just doesn't work that way. The dead inside part of me is going away for a moment. We get to Book's home planet, and Book tells Michael that it's not really like, this isn't his blood brother. It's his brother from another mother. And I think Michael sort of compares that almost to like internally to her and Spock, because like her and Spock aren't blood brother and sister, but it's like, that's my brother from another mother type situation, where like that's the bond that they have, which is also why I guess she understands how much he cares. He cares about what is his brother's name? Kyheem.
Yep.
Kyheem. And I still thought it was stupid. But we find out the reason that his planet got indebted to the Emerald Chain is because when the environment went to hell, basically, and their lakes started, and their like water and oceans and lakes started drying up, the locusts that would live in the ocean would come on land and eat their harvest.
Right. I think that also happened because of the burn. The burn created environmental changes across the universe, and and so what used to just stay in the water now comes out on land and eats all of the harvest, and they were starving. And I just don't know why you don't kill them. But anyway, a little bit of spray, poison, pesticides, and those locusts go bye-bye. But whatever. The Emerald Chain gives them a repellent, so that way it keeps the locusts away from all the crops. But Book didn't want to be tied to them, so he, bounced. But now he's back. And with his telekinetic abilities to connect to other animals, he's able to they walk into a horde and he's able to tell them to go away. And she's like, why don't you do that for all of them? He's like, there's a lot of them. And in my mind, like, aren't there a lot of you guys? Yes.
Like,
yes.
Can that be just like your job? They're here. Hey, go away. Like, could that not just be someone's job that you get paid 8 hours a day to tell the locusts to go away? Like, or just stand around the crop. Like, you don't have to be everywhere. Just stand around the crop and tell them to go away. Like,
well, one of the things I'm not sure about on this planet, because we did not have a chance to meet any other characters besides Kyheem and
his men.
Right, but we didn't really interact. So we don't know if everyone has the telekinetic ability or if it's limited. And if it's limited, then maybe those individuals are the ones that's like part of a family and brother. I don't know. I wish I found out more. I wish there was more shared about this planet.
That is true. But we find out that it was a trap for Book to be there because Adira wanted him there. So that not Adira, Osyraa wanted him there, basically to bring Ryn back because she wanted Ryn back in the fold. And so Kyheem is like between a rock and a hard place. Either he lets his child and his people starve, or he gives over his brother and Ryn. Yes. If Ryn doesn't turn himself over. And it looks like Ryn was almost willing, but Starfleet was like, we don't do that. And
Red one wanted to beam down to be with Book. Yeah, crazy. And
Saru was like, we're not doing that. We're not going to turn you over. But they do come up with sort of a cool answer when Osyraa starts opening fire on the planet. They put Ryn on Book's ship because Starfleet can't fire. Granted, it is still dumb because you're still Starfleet. We all know that you're Starfleet, and it was still a Starfleet officer who did this. But like a Starfleet officer took Book's ship off of the Discovery and then started firing because Ryn knew the ship so well, he could help her get past the defenses to like actually make an impact onto the ship.
But let's back up again, because the reason why they did this is because Saru made a deal with Vance to like basically not start a war with Osyraa, because the Federation has enough issues, and they're like, look, I'll let you go, but please don't start anything. Vance is like,
won't start no stuff.
Right.
No stuff.
Yes. Just keep a low profile. This should be a diplomatic mission. Don't start anything. And so Saru and the crew was thinking, and I think really Tilly came up with this idea of how to get around the rule, but still like seem as though Starfleet and the Federation was still being diplomatic and like turn a blind eye to whatever's going on Book's ship. I don't know. It's not part of our fleet.
Feel like it would have worked a lot better if a Starfleet officer wasn't behind the wheel. But whatever. I want to say, when Book finds out that Kyheem has a son, he's like, you have a child? Like, dude, you haven't been home in 10 years. Did you think no one moved on? Like, these tropes of like you go away and you live your life, and then you come home and find out that people live there, and you're just like shocked. And it's like, did you think they helped? Did you think they just paused until you came back? That the world, they were all like paused and like, oh, you're back, we can talk again.
Right. I mean, Kyheem hasn't met Grudge, so hey. And or Michael, and Michael's been in Book's life for a year, so yes, right. But Book refuses to cater to Osyraa and to his brother to give up Ryn. I don't understand why Ryn has been on the ship for this long. I don't know where he's been hiding. He's been hiding same place as Jet. I don't know. It's weird.
I told you they're in those little pods healing because he was badly injured and her back is messed up. That's where they are. They were side by side in those pods.
Okay, sure. But Michael comes up with an idea, and then Michael returns to Discovery.
Yes, to amplify what Book and Kyheem, because apparently, even though Kyheem was willing to turn his brother over, brought him into a trap, and then had a change of heart, Book obviously forgives him. And Osyraa is pushed away by Book's ship, starting a war between Starfleet because she's not an idiot. So she knows Starfleet has something to do with this.
Right.
All of that just sort of gets wiped away. Now she's like, that's a really bad ending to this story because that's not over yet.
Right.
Michael's able to solve the locust problem because of course she is, because in knowing them for 2 seconds, she comes up with the answer because she is the Mary Sue of this show. And she's able to amplify, which here's my thing about this whole part. Book made a point of saying the scientists on the planet were trying to study. No one on the planet was like, oh, we could just amplify our ability to do this.
Right.
And it's just the implausibility of this episode of Michael in like 20 minutes being able to figure out how to save them from starvation, and generations couldn't figure this out
for 150 years. Yeah.
You can talk to and no one thought, oh, if we could just talk to more of them at once, we could do this.
Right. So it just took the two of them to think about it, kind of like a mind meld, and to focus on this one mission, and then the Lotus would retreat back out to sea. But everyone else on the planet couldn't get together to think really hard about it. It makes this I don't know. This is where I was like, I like this episode, but like it just this falls apart because they could have solved their own problem. They really didn't need an outsider to come in.
They really didn't need Starfleet at all. So then they let him, first of all, then they let him back onto the ship. I'm like, why? Like, he was literally your enemy like 2 seconds ago. Why is he on the ship? Why are you having this closing conversation on the ship? You could have this closing conversation on the planet. Why are you letting him onto the ship? Because he has been a partner, willing or not, a partner of the Emerald Chain for his entire life.
Right.
Why are you letting him on the ship? No, stop trusting. 2, there's something going on with Detmer. I don't know what it is. There's something going on with her because we see that she modified her panel to look more like her old one. And it's not just, I don't know. I feel like in the last couple episodes, they've been setting up that she's not okay mentally. And so I feel like in a couple episodes, we're going to see that breakdown because when she was volunteered to be the pilot, you could see that she wasn't happy that Tilly volunteered her. Something's going to happen with Detmer. I don't know what it is, but something's going to happen with her. But what did you think of this episode as a whole? Like what is the moment that like stood out to you?
Well, just back to that scene with Detmer, I think it's hard to believe that everyone will take this change well, moving this far into the future, new technology. I mean, we've all been in environments, whether it's in work or family, in which like there's an upgrade to a phone and like, oh, or something. There's some
like you start a new job.
Yeah, changing cars, and it's like, oh, this is something different. So yeah, some people take on these stresses in different ways, and she's had a lot of stresses, a lot of stressful situations in the last few episodes. It goes to show, though, that the team is working out well. I like Tilly in this second in command role. She seems to be taking on this new leadership role, like in stride. She's not having a nervous breakdown or anything. And so that's great. I am, though, worried about some of the judgment calls with Michael. I'm glad, though, that Michael didn't just decide to go off with Book.
I really thought that was coming. I really thought that was coming.
That she decided to bring it back to Saru, and then Saru brought it to Vance. I just thought that this might be an opportunity for Book and Michael just to stay on the planet. Now, Book, you're back on your home planet. Here's your ship. You know, Michael, how about going on a sabbatical for another year or so and meet back up with us later? Find yourself, decide what you want to do. I just think that it's still weird to bring Book back onto the ship, and then Book needs to clarify his intentions. That's just weird.
I feel like they're validating Michael's existence with a male interest that we don't need or want. Because season 1, it was Ash. Season 2, it was Ash. It was like, there was always that pull of that romance, but not for anyone else. I mean, because Paul was already in a relationship, but we didn't see anything else pertaining, but like, it was basically always Michael and Ash, Michael and Ash, or like her connection to another male character. It was always almost like another male character was like pushing her story forward. And Spock was a huge part of that in the season 2, where he was like, a lot of her story was to figure out his story. And then now it's like, we can't get rid of Book, but he's literally not a part of Starfleet.
Right. And I think I could put a cherry on top of that cake that you just served up, because in the first season, it was Lorca that kept pushing her forward.
Yes.
Because even though she was like supposed to be in prison, he brought her out and was on this like work release training program. He kept pushing her forward and giving her more leadership roles and engaging her in more missions. And
it's just, I feel like they're undercutting her storyline, but by always wrapping a guy in it.
Right.
And she doesn't need a man. She doesn't need a man to further her storyline. And it always feels like they're pushing a male in her, like, because Paul is never part of her storyline. He never pushes her storyline. They're just friends. And I like that. I like that they have equal, like, it's always like an equal playing field with them. But with all these other people, it's like they put these males on like a pedestal for her, and like they're pushing and to like push and pull her storyline. And we don't need that. She doesn't need that. She can do her own storyline. She doesn't need a guy in there. And the fact that Book is still on the show, like, I better not see him next episode. Next episode, he better be get on his ship and go away. And then we can go back to just it being Starfleet, because it's just, I don't remember any Starfleet show where a man pushed another female storyline like this.
No.
Where it was like, I don't remember any other Star Trek show where a man was pushing the female storyline when she was supposed to be the person in power. And it's just, can we stop with that, please? Can we please stop with that? Because we're seeing Tilly grow without having a man push her. We're seeing other female characters grow without a man pushing her. Why is it for Michael's story, it always has to be like a man pushing her forward, or being like the focal point of her storyline? And it's just getting annoying at this point. It's really getting annoying. I need them to stop. I need them to make her the true story. Stop trying to emotionally break her. Stop making her the Mary Sue. Make her a real character, a real person to react the real way. Stop trying to make her your perfect girl, because she's not perfect.
Oh no.
So like, stop trying to make her seem like she knows everything about everything. You cannot be a science vessel and a fighter. It can't.
I agree with you. I don't like this direction. And once again, I think that this could have been an opportunity for Book to, I don't know, an off ramp for Book.
Mm-hmm. Like he's going to stay on the planet to help his, like he's going to stay with his planet to help them just in case she comes back.
Right. As a true environmentalist, just stay now and help them with their, to help ensure their sustainability without Osyraa.
You know what you just did? You hit the nail on the head. Don't know why they didn't do it though. Just don't let him get no mail delivered to Discovery. That you got to evict him legally. So don't let him do that. Don't let him do that. Never let people get mail delivered to your house, because the moment they get mail delivered, you got to evict them legally. You can't just kick them out. We need to know this. Everyone needs to know this. And that she's letting him move in. It's been more than 30 days. He has squatter rights. This needs to stop. Okay. So there's been a lot in this episode, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of, oh, that's so cute, and a lot of, oh my gosh, moments. I have not answered the big question, what caused the burn? And it seems like this is still going to be a season question. I hope this is the last season that they do this with, and they can go back to having story episode arcs versus season arcs, because I feel like if the answer to this burn is not monumental, I'm going to be let down. Like, if they're not leading up to the fact that this was a conspiracy held by some planet and they worked tirelessly for years to destroy all the planets or whatever, if it's like, oh, it was an accident, I'm going to be pissed.
Let's face it, we're going to have to wait until either the very last episode in the season or the next to the last episode in the season to find out. If the trend from the first two seasons is played now.
And if they kill Georgiou, I'm going to be pissed. She better not die from some sickness, because if you kill her off from some sickness, you just wasted an entire character. You wasted all the growth that she's been through. You wasted everything that has happened since season 1 with her. The ups, the downs, her looking at Saru as food, to then seeing him as, then showing him some type of respect, for her to truly start caring about people, to see the mirror universe, even though she still had her haughty, I'm better than you all attitude, you could see that she was actually starting to care for some people, that she was not actively trying to kill people randomly anymore. The only way I would accept her no longer being on the show is if she's like, I just want to explore this universe. I don't want to be a part of Starfleet anymore. Michael, you're good. Book, let's go. Or if she steals Book's ship and is like, deuces, I'm out. I just know that they better not kill this woman off with some freaking sickness, because she deserves to go out like a G fighting in the middle of a firefight, taking down like 30 people with her, or she doesn't die at all. If they're wrapping this up to take out a powerful woman with a sickness, Georgiou is a one-woman army. She doesn't go down because of a sickness that we just heard about and then she immediately gets sick. That's a cop-out.
Right. That they don't have a cure for.
Mm-hmm. So that's my concern, is that they're just going to kill her off from a sickness, and I don't want that. Any last thoughts from you?
I agree with you. I'm looking forward to seeing more Terry Georgiou. I'm also worried about Osyraa. I don't think it's the last we've heard of her. I think she's going to be coming back with a vengeance.
She will.
And I'm hoping this did not start another galactic war.
It did. But what would be awesome? If Georgiou took over Osyraa. If she killed Osyraa and took control
of the Emerald Chain?
Yes. Oh. That would be an interesting story for Georgiou.
Okay. Well, stay tuned.
Well, thank you guys for listening as always. It's so much fun to be here, even though I'm dead inside and Monica judges me for that. But as always, I'm Andrea.
I'm Monica.
Live long and prosper.